My name is Marie-Pascal Nöel and I'm a child neuropsychologist doing research in the field of numerical development for typical children, but I've always been interested in math learning difficulties, what we can call dyscalculia in some cases. I am a university professor at the Catholic University of Louvain in Belgium. And I've been working in the field of numerical cognition since 30 years now, so a long time. And so during all these years, I've been the field really growing. So there are really more and more interest into this specific math learning difficulties. This is a learning problem that can be looked at a different point of view. One of the point of view is that, is it a learning difficulty that is due to some other general cognitive factors? Okay, it's not intelligence, but could it be something else? So there are questions about, is it a problem of attention? Is it a problem of working memory? So one part of the short-term memory. And we know now that it can be related to that, but there is also some specific condition of dyscalculia where it's not related to those cognitive factors. Similarly, about half of the dyscalculic are also dyslexic, and the other way around, about half of the dyslexic are also dyscalculic, and we know that these are two separate problems that are additive with one another. So there is this first part. So then researchers try to find what is the core number factor that could explain this math learning disability. Is there some like basic numerical skills that would be wrong and that would not allow the child to learn mathematics? And so there is a debate on that, but we know that when you present a very basic task like comparing two numbers or having to select to decide whether three numbers are in the correct order or not, very basic tasks like that, children with dyscalculia or even adults with dyscalculia perform differently than typical children. They may produce more errors when they are very young, or otherwise they are slower. So it means that it's still a problem for them when they see an Arabic digit to access the meaning of that number. So we know that there is basic difficulties already seen in really elementary number processing. And of course, this problem will build up to other more elaborate math skills. Well, I think that before people were thinking, oh, you're bad at math, it's just mean that you don't have a logical mind or that you are not intelligent. Whereas we could acknowledge that if you have a reading disability, then it's something really specific that has nothing to do with intelligence. So it took some years to really discover that you could have a normal intelligence but have a specific math learning disabilities, which is then called dyscalculia. And this affects about 6% of the population, so it's quite a lot. And often these children are not diagnosed because even now when I'm talking about my research interest, people always ask me, what is dyscalculia? Oh, you can't find letters? No, it's not that. This is dyslexia, and I am working in the specific field of math learning difficulties. And so most of the teachers are not really well aware of the fact that it's a specific condition of some children who are not necessarily poor in terms of intelligence. That can be a cause, but then we don't speak about dyscalculia. And this is not the case of children that would be lazy or unmotivated. It's really a specific learning disability. Ways to improve the performance of these children. And what this research have found is that if you try to work on very general cognitive skills like working memory, often you don't have great improvement on working memory itself, and usually it does not impact the math skills of the person. So it's not a very good pathways. But if you go and practice the skills that are difficult for the child, and you really try to build something very an explicit instruction, going step by step in very small steps, having reinforcement, allowing the child to really understand what is going on by using manipulatives and different systems like that, then we can have very interesting results. And it can go up to changing the brain activity when the brain activity is measured in those tasks, not in general, of course, because we have seen that for these children, often there are, when we measure the brain activity in a number task, like in comparison of digits or in verifying whether a simple calculation is correct or wrong, there are some brain activity that differ from the brain activation of the normal population. Especially often they have more brain activity in the parietal system and in the frontal system, which is an index, I would say, of the fact that they need more efforts to deal with the task. And when you intervene, and if the program is efficient, you can see brain changes as well when they are retested with the same type of tasks. We know that, for instance, to work just on the simple addition and simple subtraction, there is a program that was quite efficient, but they had 22 sessions of training. So it's quite a lot for just a very specific math skills. But mathematics is very wide. And they had, like the team of FIRST, they also had a program for word problem solving, but again, it was like 15 or 20 sessions. So of course, it's a lot of time because these people usually learn very slowly. They need a lot of time to understand. They need a lot of time to understand the process that you are presenting. They need more time to use the process and be able to really handle the process. So it often requires a lot of time. And usually these people don't have just one focus difficulties. They don't have, oh, everything is fine, but I don't understand fraction. If it's the case, often it's not a dyscalculic person. It's maybe someone who was ill when the teacher explained the fraction or something like that. But often they have multiple difficulties in the math areas, and each of these difficulties need to be tackled one at a time, sequentially, because they are built one upon the other, and each time it requires quite a lot of time. I mentioned a research from the team of Andoker who developed the catch-up numeracy program, and they had assistants working half an hour twice a week with the child. They had quite good success with it. But I would say that if the world was perfect, I think the best would be to have very small classes, because we know that children learn more if the class size is small. So having very small classes where children with difficulties could learn at their own pace. Even if at 12 they did not cover all the program, but they keep on building things, and the teacher would go slowly, following the rhythm of the child, so that we make sure that they understand things before going to the next step. I think that for a math teacher, that's not so easy to work with the group of the classroom and also some child, maybe one or two in the class, that are really behind. So I think it's important to have an extra help, to have some time where these children have a specific person for themselves who can really understand what's in your mind. Maybe you have some misunderstanding. Can we change those misunderstanding? What is not clear for you? Trying to find the good manipulatives that would help you understand things and so on. But working in this individual's way, together with working with the class, I think it's very difficult. But what is important for math teacher is to know about dyscalculia, not to victimize those children who are at difficulties. So having a specific eye on them, trying to really motivate them, encourage them, making sure that there is no laugh of the other children if they are doing wrong and so on. So really trying to build a nice atmosphere so that the child will not feel lower self-esteem and then finally build math anxiety or math avoidance. So I think that would already be a very good job, being aware of those children, asking for help, maybe a specific clinician or maybe a specific teacher that would come into the class, or maybe they have some extra time to take care in an individual way to these children. I don't know, maybe something like that. I would go into that direction. Actually, it's not very happy, because we can see that this is a condition that is persistent, and there are some studies showing that they will have less diploma than they will have lower degree than typical people, or than people with dyslexia. Usually they will have a more difficult time to find a job, they will have lower salaries, and they will have more problems like depression and things like that. So this is not a very nice condition, and it's a real problem that we should really take care of.